Today we're power ranking every NBA team's future. But here's the twist. This isn't some vague ranking of each franchise's young core. Our model is based on their projected success over the next 3 seasons from 2025 to 2028. We also discuss a lot more though, so to never miss an episode, tap that subscribe button. Let's get it. Welcome back to another edition of the Hampton Show. Joel, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I think the biggest storyline right now has been about Kawhi Leonard, which I think Pablo Torre is doing an amazing job uncovering that. And it feels weird seeing all the defendants, either of the Clippers or Mark Cuban. Adam Silver came out and said that he didn't know about it. And then it's like, well, the Clippers had to get aspiration approved as a partner, and the NBA approved it. So Adam Silver, either he didn't see it or he's lying about it. There's just a lot of fishy things, and I feel like the higher ups are trying to cover Steve Ballmer's tracks.
Yeah, the Adam Silver thing was bizarre this week. Pablo uncovered there's a total of $118 million invested in that company over the 18-month period Kawhi Leonard was paid. There's a ton of new stuff that came out this week. We covered a ton of it last week. The Mark Cuban stance is odd. Again, the Adam Silver stance is odd. And I think now, more than ever, it's easier to know the truth. I love the way Pablo is going about this. He's leaking a little bit out of a time, seeing the response, answering the response with more and more evidence and hard facts. He has made it undeniable that the NBA has to do something. So if they choose not to, that is a whole new view I have on the NBA. But until we get that punishment, we will cover it then. Today we're ranking all 30 NBA teams' futures, and this is over the next 3 years based on success from 2025 to 2028. But first, we're starting the show with fill in the blank, where I say an NBA-related phrase, and Joel completes that sentence. Joel, the first one up is the NBA star most likely to win their first ring this season is blank. We've had Jason Tatum back in 2023. We've had Shea in 2024. Who do you think the next guy is?
Jalen Brunson.
Same here. I put Jalen Brunson as well. I thought I was going to have to battle you on this, but yeah, I think your Knicks is a clear-cut answer. Donovan Mitchell is another answer, but I think Jalen Brunson has the best shot in the East.
It was either Jalen Brunson or Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards came to my mind because he's a superstar. He could have won MVP this year, and he's going to take the league by storm yet again because he keeps improving on his game.
100%. Let's get to the next one. The first blockbuster trade of the year will involve blank.
The easy cop-out is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know how willing the Bucks are going to be to trade him, and I don't know how willing another team is going to be to trade all the assets that they need to get Giannis.
Yeah, I think that is the easiest answer for sure, and probably the most likely one. The answer I put down was Zion Williamson. Spoiler here that, it's simple that that team finished dead last in my rankings. They have no direction. They don't have their first round pick going into next summer. They have the worst facilities and arena in the NBA. They're probably the worst market in the NBA. Zion is ready to move on, and I think the Pelicans should be too.
So where do you think Zion gets traded?
I think a team like Charlotte, if it goes south very quickly, I think a team like Charlotte looks into it. Another team with no direction right now, Miami, could look into it. I think it is into the Eastern Conference. Those bottom Western Conference teams, I don't see making a move like that. Same with the playoff teams there. I think it's somewhere in the East. What about you?
I like the Miami Heat shot a lot. I think that he would be the perfect place for him to revitalize his career, and they need that star power.
For sure.
And if he goes to Miami, you're going to be taking back a lot of the things you said about Zion.
I don't know, because the way I envision Zion in Miami is probably a little bit different. You're thinking of all these tickets that are going to be sold, all the on-court behavior that he will have. I'm thinking of the off-court behavior. What's going on in South Beach? Who are you talking to off the court?
That's just going to give him more energy.
I think it's going to drain his energy, Joel. We've already seen the baby mama drama. We've always seen the Mariah Mills thing. The Miami thing, yes, I think they would do it, and I think it's a real possibility. I just envision it going differently than you.
I think you're focused on the off-the-court stuff because you're focused on the baddies in South Beach. But I think Zion Williamson, I think that will energize him. I think it will make him want to play even better on the court because then off the court, yeah, I'm Mr. Zion Williamson. I'm the Heat's franchise player. I just won a couple playoff series. I just made an All-NBA team. I'm in the MVP race. He's going to have a little bit more of a swagger to him. And that's going to, attract a lot of the baddies there. So I think he wants to maybe prove himself a little bit more in that environment.
That's a great interpretation. Next one, the coach with the most pressure on him next season is blank.
I got to go with Mike Brown.
100%.
Tom Thibodeau gets fired and they make the Eastern Conference Finals. Mike Brown now takes over a team after he was fired from the Sacramento Kings. Mike Brown has to prove that the firing in Sacramento wasn't justified, while also simultaneously having to elevate the Knicks into being a finals team, because that's the next step for New York, especially with the injuries in the East. You have Boston and Indiana out the picture. This feels like a year for the Knicks, and Mike Brown has to be a big reason for that to happen.
Yeah, they just made their first conference finals in a quarter century. He has a lot of pressure on him. That's the name I put. I do want to throw Mark Daigneault into this conversation as well. You think back to the playoffs, there was a couple times he got criticized, rightfully so, for rotations and decisions he made during the postseason. Now they're expected to repeat. A team has not done that in over 6 years. Now, with the Western Conference, with Denver beefing up, with Houston beefing up, I think there's going to be a little bit of pressure on him. Not enough pressure to get fired, but it could get noisy if they get bounced in the first or second round of the playoffs. Final fill in the blank, Joel. The most underrated team heading into this season is blank.
There's no team in the East that strikes me as underrated. I think all the teams that made moves and have a chance are set in stone. The Western Conference has more variance because there's a lot of playoff team. The Memphis Grizzlies definitely not underrated. I think they're properly rated. I think everybody knows what to expect of them. OKC,
What do they know to expect?
Houston.
What do they know to expect?
They know 40 something wins, playing appearance.
49?
41. I think 41 wins, a playing appearance. That's kind of what Memphis is going to be. I think the most underrated team going into this upcoming season is, I'm going to go with the Portland Trailblazers. I think the Trailblazers ended off last season hot. They were one of the best defenses in the NBA. And now this season, they added Drew Holiday while also getting rid of Anthony Simons, a major defensive liability. They're leaning all the way into their identity. And I'm curious to see how big of a leap and step they take, because even making the plan would be a big jump for them, but they would need a lot of teams in the West to kind of fall apart if they're going to make that jump as well.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm going to go back to the Eastern Conference. I think everybody is forgetting about the Detroit Pistons. All this buzz around the Atlanta Hawks, I understand, even though you and I have had dialogue about that, and we'll cover that probably later in the podcast. But the Detroit Pistons, the dialogue around them this summer was they did not get better. If anything, it was a lateral move to, go out and get the shooting and the guys that they got in free agency. But my pushback on that is they didn't have to get better in free agency. They have Jaden Ivey coming back. And that's why they did not re-sign Dennis Schroeder. I think another year of development for Cade, another year of development for Jaden Ivey, and another year of cohesion with Tobias Harris on the team and whoever else you want to name. But I think the Detroit Pistons are a team that people are starting to forget about.
I agree with you. I think the Pistons are really good and they have the most continuity. And I just like Cade more than I like Trey, than I like Paolo, than I like Franz. I think Cade is the guy. And if they get more internal development, Asar gets better, Duren gets better. And then also Jaden Ivey, him coming back to the lineup, I think they are being slept on.
Let's move on to the NBA Northwest Division preview. We're going to start with the Denver Nuggets and with their offseason overview. They re-signed no one. They added Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson, and Jonas Valanciunas. They said goodbye to Michael Porter Jr. in that Cam Johnson trade, and Dario Saric was also traded as well. One thing to watch for me is minutes without Jokic on the floor. The Nuggets have been outscored by 9 points per 100 possessions in minutes without Jokic. So I think that was the last 4 seasons, by the way. Does Jonas Valanciunas fix that? That is the question and the number one thing I'm watching. Is it the same for you or something else?
I think they improved their bench. I don't think Jonas Valanciunas fixes that. I don't think he's that good of a player. I think he's just a major defensive liability.
I think he is too, but I think for 10 to 15 minutes a night, he can fix that. We're talking about Jokic still playing 35 to 38 minutes a night. He doesn't have to be a starting caliber big. Jonas Valanciunas is not that. He is a defensive liability. However, he is better and an upgrade from Dario Saric and DeAndre Jordan. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, offensively, he's an upgrade. I think defensively, it depends on what the lineup is out there with him. But I think the best part about Denver is their young players taking a step. You want to see Payne Watson improve. You want to see Julian Strawther improve. I think those are going to be the swings for them. And somebody like Bruce Brown, who they brought back, that was steady. But I think the Russell Westbrook loss is going to be a little bit bigger than people
Stop
expect.
it.
I mean, Russell Westbrook was amazing for the Nuggets. Let's not act like he wasn't.
He wasn't not good, but back to the young players point, I completely disagree. I think that was the rhetoric going into last season. They needed to step up because they had moved on from KCP and Bruce Brown the year before that. Now, bringing in all these veterans in free agency via trade as well, that shows me the young guys, I don't know if they believe in anymore. They had a season to prove it. They did not prove it, and they went out and got Bruce Brown again, Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson, and Jonas Valanciunas. I don't think the young guys need to step up as much as you're talking about.
I don't think that it's not that they don't believe in them anymore. I just think that they were forced into a role that they weren't ready for. And I think a year of experience and getting that, maybe they might be ready for it this year. But overall, like, who did the Nuggets really add? They added Tim Hardaway Jr., they added Jonas Valanciunas, they added Bruce Brown off the bench because I know Cam Johnson is starting. I'm going to be honest, I think the biggest swing for them is Deron Holmes. I think Deron Holmes can have a bigger impact on this team than Jonas.
You just asked who they added. They added basically an equal for Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Johnson, but for $20 million less. I'm not going to sit here and argue that Cam's a better scorer than MPJ. That's not what I'm arguing, but he is a better defender. And I think he fits better on this roster. That is what they have added. And they've added more flexibility to go out and make this moves. Their ownership has been criticized for being cheap, and they are. Yes, they got off MPJ's contract because they did not want to pay it, but they did the best possible thing. They got a cheaper version of MPJ and a version that fits better.
They are better than last year. There's no doubt about it.
So they can take. So if they're better than they were last year, let's have that OKC conversation. Who is in the division with OKC? So if they're better than last year, a team that took OKC to a 7-game series, what does that result in this time? Another 7-game series, or does it result in a win?
It can result in a win. I don't think it will. I think OKC is better too. OKC finally has the experience.
Okay, OKC has the experience, yes, but they did not get better roster-wise. They didn't need to get better. They're the NBA champion.
They're going to get better naturally because their players are like 24, 25 years old.
That's a fair argument.
Yeah.
I think
and even with what Denver added, Tim Hardaway Jr., I don't even think he'd play on OKC. I don't even think Jonas would play on OKC. I mean, we're talking about the guys they added off the bench that I don't even think play on OKC.
Yeah, we're talking about the defending NBA champions, and we're talking about 7th, 8th, and 9th men on the Nuggets roster. Of course they would not play, Joel, on OKC. Last year, their rotation was this. Last year, the Nuggets rotation was Jokic, Murray, Brown, Michael Porter Jr. We've been over it a million times. He couldn't lift his arm. Aaron Gordon on one leg. And off the bench was Russell Westbrook and Peyton Watson. Now it's Jokic, Murray, Brown, a healthy Cam Johnson, a healthy Aaron Gordon, and off the bench, Valanciunas, Hardaway, Bruce Brown, Peyton Watson, and whatever young guys you want to talk about. Deron Holmes, who apparently is going to be their biggest contributor off the bench, in your opinion. So,
no, I think it's going to be the biggest.
So how is this not going to be a 7-game series? And in my eyes, I would pick Denver. Who has the better player in the series? In my eyes, it's Nikola Jokic.
You can pick Denver in the series, but I'm still going to go with OKC. I think they just have a better overall team, and they finally got the monkey off their back. I think they're better equipped to play even better this time around. Denver, I like what they did. Cam, Bruce, and Hardaway were really good. Jonas Valanciunas, I really don't know how much he's going to contribute. Like I said, I think Deron Holmes, who coming off that ACL injury last year, I think one of those, ACL or Achilles, a season-ending injury. I think this year they were hoping they were going to get that center protection last year from him, but he could be ready to play. He can defend. He's a high flyer. He's a rim runner. I just think Jonas slows the game down because he's a post-up centric center and he's slow-footed on defense. So I don't even know how valuable his 13 minutes are going to be off the bench.
Okay, we can agree on that. You're making the point for me. So not only does Denver have Jonas as an option, they have Daron Holmes. They have two options to supplement their biggest Achilles heel over the last 4 years, which is when Nikola Jokic is not on the court, they get outscored by 9 points per 100 possessions. So they have two
Yes.
options now to fill that, and that's why I think they have a real shot. And why I'm picking them to beat OKC in the playoffs, at least in September, which means nothing.
They do have a real shot to beat them. I'm assuming you started with Denver first because is this your team that you're predicting to have the best record within this division?
Our conversation right here was about playoff success. Let's have a conversation about the regular season.
Well,
Record,
Denver's going to be two. Denver's going to be
yeah.
two in this division.
We can agree on that. They're going to be two in this division. That's my prediction. My record prediction is 56 and 26. That would be, I believe, a 5-game improvement from last year. What is your record prediction?
I think it's around the same. I think they can touch 60 if they take the regular season seriously. I don't think they do though. I'm going to go 55 and 27.
Got you. All right, we see eye to eye on the record. Let's go to the Minnesota Timberwolves, a guy you're just talking about, and Anthony Edwards. His franchise re-signed Joe Ingles on a 1-year deal, Julius Randle on that 3-year deal, and Naz Reid on that massive 5-year, $125 million extension. They added Johnny Juzang to a 1-year deal, and they said goodbye to Nickeil Alexander-Walker to Atlanta, Luka Garza to Boston, and Josh Minott to Boston as well. What is your number one thing to watch for Minnesota?
Did they get better? That's it. Losing to kill Alexander Walker, that's going to be a tough loss. They were able to keep Naz Reid. They're hopeful that Terrence Shannon Jr. could take a step in his game. The point guard position is one of the biggest question marks because Mike Conley is not producing anymore, and Rob Dillingham is waiting in the wings, but you really don't know how much you can trust Rob Dillingham because he can't defend. He's a very small player. So that's my major question mark for them. But I think there's a lot of things going for them this year. Last year, they had injuries to Randall and DiVincenzo during the season. If they can stay healthier this year, I can see them being a 50-win team. They weren't that far off from that mark last year. I think they were 1 game off. They were at 49 last season. So if they stay healthy, they can do that. But any loss they had could pretty much be offset by Anthony Edwards taking another step in his game. If Anthony Edwards is a legit MVP candidate, which I think he will be this upcoming season, then I have no question marks about Minnesota, and I think that they're going to be one of those dark horse contenders in the West.
I go back to that question mark you brought up, and that's the number one thing I'm watching. Who steps up at point guard? Mike Conley's going to be 38 by the time this season starts. Rob Dillingham, Bones Highland, Terrence Shannon, Jalen Clark, one of those guys need to find their role as backup point guard or even starting point guard. They were spoiled with Nickeil Alexander-Walker because anytime Conley wasn't playing well, he would just sit his ass down and Nickeil Alexander-Walker would finish the game. Now without him, Anthony Edwards is going to have to show something he has not shown throughout his career thus far. A lot more heavy ball handling duties. We've seen how Devin Booker has handled it with a lack of team around him. Now, this team in Minnesota has a lot better supporting cast than Phoenix, but Booker has struggled at times in that area, and he's gotten a lot better in that area. I need to see that same jump from Anthony Edwards. And if I'm a betting man, I think we do. I just don't know if this is the season we see it. The record prediction I have for them is 48 and 34. It's 1 win less than last year. You're going 1 win over. I have them finishing third in the division.
I think third is a solid place for them. I think Denver is better.
For sure. Let's get to the bottom of this division. The Utah Jazz, they re-signed Oscar Tshiebwe. They added Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love, who's probably going to get waived, Georges Niang, and Yusuf Nurkic. Said goodbye to a lot of their vets, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, and Colin Sexton. One thing to watch, and the only thing to watch, is Ace Bailey. But I'm going to be honest, Joel, if this team was playing in my backyard, I probably would not open the blinds.
It's 22 and 60 team and screaming that. I might be generous with 22 wins.
You are.
This is an awful team. This is an awful team that has no direction. Ace Bailey being your franchise player, I guess. I don't know how high I am on that because I think Ace Bailey was an overrated prospect to begin with. I think their best young player is Kyle Filipowski. I think he's their best guy, and there's really not much to root for right now with them.
Yeah, and because of that, I have them going 14 and 68.
Wow, 14 wins.
Yes, 14 and 68, finishing obviously dead last in this division. It's a Western Conference schedule, too, keeping that in mind as well for a team where, in your eyes, Kyle Filipowski is the best player, the best young guy on. I
Yeah,
don't know.
facts.
Yeah.
Because Laurie Markin
Yeah,
is
Laurie
theirs.
Markin is clearly the best player, but who knows how much they've been trying to sit him throughout his tenure there, and they'll probably do the same thing this year. And I don't know when these teams are going to learn. We had this conversation with Washington of tanking does not work anymore. You're talking about Dallas winning last year's lottery, Atlanta the year before, even back in 2019, the Grizzlies winning it for Ja Morant. Like tanking does not work in 2025. The odds have changed. Yes, they're still geared towards the worst teams, but it doesn't usually land that way anymore. And hopefully, teams can actually start trying to be competitive and offloading salary. And just, I couldn't imagine being a Utah Jazz fan the past 5 years. It would be very mortifying.
It's terrible. I mean, they've tried to be as bad as possible, but
Yeah,
I think that even if tanking doesn't work, quote unquote, you still have the best chance to get a high pick if you are bad. So I think that if they keep on being bad, eventually they'll land a top 3 pick somewhere.
hopefully they do. Portland Trailblazers is next. They added Drew Holiday via that trade with the Celtics, Damian Lillard to that 3-year deal. They said goodbye to DeAndre Ayton and Anthony Simons. One thing to watch for me is Scoot Henderson, his potential third-year leap, what happens there. Just their offense in general, I'm keeping an eye on as well. This team has a great defensive identity, but for them to take another step, it has to come from the offensive end.
Who's going to be the guy? That's my question for them.
Mm,
Is it Deni Avdija who's going to take another step in this game?
no.
Who's getting some high praise last year because he played really well?
In March.
Is it Donovan Clingan and what he does defensively? Is it Shaden Sharp, the high flyer? Is it Scoot Henderson, the Dame Lillard replacement? And there's a lot of question marks here of who's going to step up. Is it Tomani Kamara, the two-way demon? I mean, there's a lot of things to ask right now, and they have a lot of solid young players, but I don't know who's going to be the standout.
You sitting here rattling off these players, it's like I want to talk myself into this team, but I just can't, especially in this conference, which is why I have them with a losing record yet again, 38-44. It's a 2-win jump from last year, but I mean, I just don't see how this team is going to be have a winning record in a conference that looks like this.
No, I think it's going to be very hard for them. If they reach 40 wins, I'd be very surprised. I think they are like above like 35 wins to 38 wins, I think is where they're going to be around.
For sure. Let's get to the final team, top of this division. By the way, we had both had the Blazers at fourth, I assume, but top of this division is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They added no one, but they did re-sign Shea, Chet Holmgren, AJ Mitchell, Jalen Williams, and the other Jalen Williams as well. Only person they said goodbye to was Dylan Jones in a trade with the Wizards. Felt kind of Trey Mann-esque there. They just literally didn't have room, so made a deal for him. My one thing to watch is longevity of their season and their corresponding health to go with it. They lost Chet for a chunk of it last year, didn't really affect them. If they lost a Jalen Williams or a Shea, I think this team is more equipped to stay afloat than any other team. But the longevity of the season is real. You saw it with the Cleveland Cavaliers and their 2 separate 15-game win streaks last year. It seems like they ran out of gas when it came playoff time. OKC now is a seasoned team. They know what it takes. So how do they go about it? The Boston Celtics trying to repeat last year. They kind of got bored for a 2 to 3 week stretch, went on a little 500 run, and then, injuries derailed their playoff success. But I just want to see how the Thunder handle the season now that they've won a chip.
I agree. I think that they're still going to be a dominant regular season team because they have so much depth that they could fill in and they could play really well.
Yeah.
Chat missed most of the year and they still were able to clear 60 wins.
Mm-hmm.
OKC, I know we say this every year about every team that wins. Denver when they won, who's going to beat them? Boston when they won, who's going to beat them? OKC when they won, now we're asking that same question. It feels like OKC is more talented than those previous 2 champions, though, and they are better equipped to go back-to-back than anybody else in recent memory. We can go back to Golden State with KD, and that's the last thing that feels like they were this good to just be able to run the league. So I think that OKC is going to go back-to-back this year. I think they're just the most talented team top to bottom. They finally have experience. This feels like the dynasty of the 2020s.
You're right. We have literally asked that question about every single one of these teams. Boston, we thought for certain would go back-to-back, especially in the conference they're in. I think Houston makes things interesting, and obviously Denver makes things interesting. OKC is going to be tested in the Western Conference playoffs, not the NBA Finals. We can sit here and banter about the Knicks making the NBA Finals, but I think if the Knicks make the finals, it'd be a massive success. I don't see any team from the East beating the Thunder, but I do see Denver, like I was talking about earlier in this podcast, making this an actual series. And you can talk about talent and everything else. I think at a certain point, it comes down to health and it comes down to winning moments. And the Thunder, they now know how to win, but I'm not going to sit here and deny the fact that they didn't have 2 7-game series last year. Like that happened. Yes, the Pacers they ran through the East and they were an absolute force to be reckoned with. But this team is not so far ahead of everyone where we can sit here and say the Thunder are the field. This is not that kind of team just yet. I'm not ready to say that. The Thunder by far should be the finals favorite. And I'm not saying I'm picking against them. However, they are not just ready to be crowned the dynasty just yet, and I'm not ready to say that at all.
They can't be crowned just yet, but I can project it. And I think they are. I mean, they have their players signed and locked and loaded. They got young players ready to step up. They got the best depth in the NBA. For Boston, there was always the Kristaps Porzingis component. And I guess that's what it is for OKC. It's the Chet Holmgren component. If he can be healthy, because he's always a risk to get re-injured. So if they stay healthy, no, I don't think any team's beating this team.
We shall see. I think the coaching thing is something to watch as well. Let's get into the reason we recorded this podcast. Power ranking every NBA team's future. This is based on projected success from 2025 to 2028. How many wins they will have between those 3 years, how many championships they will have. That's what we're talking about. This isn't just some vague rating or ranking of, every team's young core. It's not about that. It's about their success over the next 3 years. Joel, let's start with 30 to 26, and we can fly through this and work our way up.
Okay, based on the caveat that you just mentioned, my list is going to be completely different because my list is about who do I want to be the least? Okay. Who do I want to be? I don't want to be this team. And the team that I want to be the least right now is the Milwaukee Bucks. They're terrible.
No, that's fair. I have them. Yeah, I've them low as well.
I'm going to go 30 to 26. 30 is the Bucks. 29 is the Phoenix Suns. 28 is the LA Clippers. Next 3 years, 27 is the Golden State Warriors. Steph, Draymond, all retiring. Jimmy Butler probably retiring. What is this team going to be? And then 26, the Sacramento Kings. They're just stuck in no man's land, and I was probably a bit generous with their rating.
Yeah, those are teams all had in the bottom half as well. 30th for me, like I said at the start of this podcast, the New Orleans Pelicans. No direction, lost their crown jewel of that first-round draft pick next summer. Zion Williamson, trade rumors flying around him. Brooklyn Nets I have at 29. Jazz I have at 28. Washington Wizards at 27. And like you have, I have the Sacramento Kings at 26.
So 25, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. I think there's still some upside here, even though it's a mess. And there's still if you have a bin of toys, there's a lot of bad toys within the bin, but there's some good ones here. So that's why they're 25 for me.
What are the good ones besides Trey Murphy?
Zion, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. I like Yves Missi a lot. There are some good toys here. There's some good players here.
What defines good toy for you if Zion Williamson has been injury plagued and not resulted in playoff success at all, or play-in success for that matter?
Just means a toy that you can't find all that often, but when you get it, you like playing with it, and that's your favorite one. So that's what Zion Williamson is. 24, the Philadelphia 76ers. 23, the Brooklyn Nets. 22, the Chicago Bulls. And 21, another generous rating probably, but the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, I had a problem putting the Hornets as high as mine as well. At 25, I had the Chicago Bulls. 24, the Hornets. 23, the Toronto Raptors. I feel like this is one of the worst situations in the NBA that no one talks about. You look at their starting lineup, and it is one of the most expensive starting lineups in the entire NBA. The amount of money that Emmanuel Quickley is owed over the next several years is staggering, and same with pretty much everyone else on their roster. I'm pulling it up right now. Scotty Barnes is a cap hit of $38 million, well-deserved from Scotty. Brandon Ingram, is a cap hit of $38 million as well. And we have talked about this. Rich Paul, the reason he got him traded was not because he wanted out of New Orleans, but because he knew he would get no money in free agency. Toronto Raptors, for whatever reason, are willing to give him that. Emmanuel Quickly is a cap hit of $32 million. RJ Barrett's cap hit of $27 million. And Jakob Poeltl is a $20 million cap hit. So you're looking at anywhere from 140 to 170 million dollars just in your starting lineup. I think that is one of the worst situations in the NBA, and it's a lot of untradeable contracts in there to get you out of this situation, which is why I have them at 23. The Phoenix Suns are at 22, and the Philadelphia 76ers are at 21. Joel, any comments on that?
The Toronto Raptors are weird because they have good players, but they're just stuck in no man's land. They've given out too many bad contracts for me to think that they're going to do anything unless they trade it for somebody big like Giannis. Number 20, I have the Raptors. I just think that their good players save them a bit, but this is also a team that has no direction. 19, I had the Wizards. I had them high just because of the picks they're going to get over the next couple of years. 18, I had the Miami Heat. No man's land team, but if they make a trade for Zion, it could change things. 17, the Utah Jazz. Another team that I think is probably a bit too high, but next 3 years, I can see them in the next couple of drafts drafting a player that maybe could change their franchise. Number 16, the Blazers. A collection of really good players, but there's not a standout. But the young core gives you some pause to be high on them. Number 15, and then I'll stop here. The Memphis Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies, with the trade they made with the Orlando Magic, now have, something to look forward to in the future. They have a lot of assets for the future. They have some good players on their team currently. So they kind of have a mix of like they're right now roster wise, a team that's in no man's land, but assets wise, they have the flexibility to make a move or to just keep on drafting youth and maybe one of those guys pans out for them in a big way.
Obviously, the Memphis Grizzlies are way too low on every one of your list. I disagree with that. I'll cover that whenever I get to it. 20, I have the LA Clippers, and that was before the Pablo Torre story came out this week, uncovering more. But at this point, I think we can assume it would be shocking if Kawhi Leonard was on that roster next year, not just because of the Pablo and all that documents, but now the Clippers' PR stance in all of this has not become, this is provably false. And then that moved to, well, we will, assist the NBA in however we can. Now it's a Kawhi smear campaign and how bad he's been for them and, how the whole thing has been a disaster and internal, sources or, unnamed sources are starting to smear him in the media from the Clippers front office. That has been the PR tactic instead of, this is provably false, which is what it started with. Now that all the mountain of evidence is stacked up against them, I think they're ready to part ways with Kawhi Leonard to cover their own ass, and that's why I have them this low over the next 3 years. 19 is the Miami Heat, a team with no direction, a team that still has Andrew Wiggins on it, a team where I don't know where Norm Powell fits next to him, a team that Bam Adebayo took a minor step back last year. Hopefully he can move that step forward, but I don't know how much I believe in a Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo combination over the next 3 years. Portland Trailblazers is 18 for all the reasons that you said. Milwaukee Bucks is a team I have at 17. I know you had them at the bottom of the list. Completely understand that's a fair way to feel. I think just Giannis and that success over the next 3 years is enough to have them at 17, still in the bottom half of the NBA. And then the Pacers is a team I have at 16. I think the Pacers, fresh off their final runs, if Tyrese Halliburton was healthy, I would change this. But not only did they lose Tyrese this season, Miles Turner's playing for the Milwaukee Bucks. So that's 2 starters out this season. And Miles Turner won't be there for the foreseeable future. So even when Tyrese comes back in 2 years from now, I don't see that resulting in massive success.
That's fair. That is very fair. At 14, I have the Atlanta Hawks. They have a really good roster. I just don't know if they have the guy. And that's really my biggest gripe with them right now. At number 13, this is where I'm going to have the Orlando Magic. I think the Magic have upside. Paolo and Franz and Bane and Suggs. But can they fit together? Can Paolo and Franz fit together? Another question mark is next 3 years when Franz and Paolo and Desmond Bane are making the money they make, they might run into a Memphis situation where one of them got to go. So that's going to be something to look out for. 11, I like the Detroit Pistons a lot. I feel like they know how to play together. They have continuity, and I'm a really big fan of Cade Cunningham. Number 10, I have the Dallas Mavericks. The Cooper Flag effect is real. And in the next 3 years, I don't think Kyrie or AD will be completely washed. So it gives them a chance in the next 3 years to really compete for something if they're all healthy. Number nine, I know it's their future is uncertain, but the LA Lakers are number nine because they have Luka Doncic. If you have a piece as big as Luka Doncic, then I think you're pretty much fine as a franchise. I think you like your direction, and LA is always going to find a way to get another star to play with a star.
Yeah, it's 100% true. At 15, I had the Celtics. I feel like their story for the next 3 years is unfinished. I don't know what they're going to be. I know next year they're not going to be very good. We shall see what they do in free agency of 2026, but I just had to throw them in the middle. At 14, I have the Atlanta Hawks exactly where you had them. I don't know if Trey's going to be there. I get that there's so much buzz around them this summer, but he still doesn't have a contract extension. So after this year, he may have to opt into a player option and ask for a trade. If that is the formula that happens, then I don't have the Atlanta Hawks being a top 10 team over the next 3 years. The Detroit Pistons, I have them in a similar spot at 13. 12 is where I have the Memphis Grizzlies. This is another one that could be unfinished. But the argument I can make for the Grizzlies is right now, with the roster they have right now, I still think it's good enough to make the play-in and backdoor into the playoffs as an 8 seed. They have a amazing asset in the 2026 Phoenix first-round pick. What does that turn into? Is it a draft pick or is it another player? Not to mention all the other first-round picks they have in the back half of the 2020s. So I think they have a good enough team to make the postseason this year and also flip that to get right back into title contention over the next 3 years. San Antonio Spurs is a squad I have at 11. Victor Wembanyama is the sole reason I have them this high. We have been on record talking about how bad the De'Aaron Fox deal is for them over the next several years and dealing with that. And the fact that in year 2030, De'Aaron Fox is going to be well into his 30s, making over $60 million. How good is that on your roster? We don't look at the numbers now. We look at percentage of the cap. And when De'Aaron Fox at age 33 will be making over 30% of your cap, that is a problem and why I have them outside of the top 10. At number 10 is where I have the Dallas Mavericks, exactly where you have them.
Okay. I think the Spurs are really low.
I don't.
I think you're fixating on the Fox thing a lot. You're not on
because it's
enough.
about roster construction. They cannot build around him. And is De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama both going to get you a championship in the West?
It depends on who else steps up. It depends on that.
Okay.
It depends on who else steps up. I said number 9 was the Lakers. Number 8, I have the Knicks. This 3-year window is going to be their window to win. And after that, I think they're going to probably go
way too low. Yeah, this is way too low.
I don't think so, because number 7 is Indiana. Not only are they going to get Hallie back next year, but this year, if they aren't that good, they're going to get their draft pick. They own their draft pick. So they can add another player that's promising to this team. And this is already a really good team. I think the Miles Turner loss is a loss, but I don't think it's a long-term detriment. Number 6, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Evan Mobley's development is really the biggest swing for them. If he can develop into one of those guys, which I think he can, I think he can be a top 15 player in the league, if not top 10. I think he's that good on both ends of the floor.
Still have not gotten to the Spurs.
No, they're not. They're not here yet. And then number 5, the Boston Celtics. I mean, the fact that the Celtics were 15 for you, I mean, my goodness gracious. You had the Memphis Grizzlies over the Boston Celtics. Are you kidding me?
They're going to be a play-in team next year.
And we
don't know what they're doing in free agency. Did you see this year's free agency?
This is what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of a Boston Celtics team that is going to be bad this year. I've said it. They're going to be really bad. They're going to get a top 5 pick. Mark my words, come back to this when I'm right. They're getting a top 5 pick. They're adding a top 5 prospect to Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Derek White. They're going to make a move for a center because that's what Brad Stevens does. Anthony Simons won't be on the team. In the next 3 years, because of this reset year, the Celtics are in a great position for the future.
This is all based on unproven information. Now, my argument for the Grizzlies was with half-proven information, and the other half was unproven. But that's why I had them at 12 and not in the top 5.
The Suns
top 5 is crazy.
You just mentioned it earlier that tanking doesn't work, right? The Suns are going to be bad, and the Grizzlies are going to get their pick. the Celtics could get a higher pick than you this year.
So the Celtics and a team that's, after the top 5 teams in the East, we could see the Celtics anywhere from 6 to 10. I think the odds would favor Phoenix would have a better pick, but we have seen what we have seen. So I think Boston, relying on a top 5 pick to solve their issues is not something I would want to do if I'm Brad Stevens and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are in the middle of their career. VJ Edgecombe was the number 3 overall pick this year. I think if you add that to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown by itself, that's not enough.
Well, I think that they wouldn't have drafted him. I think that if they had the 5th or 6th overall pick, they would have drafted Kamen Malawach. And you add that big monster to this.
Did you watch him
team.
during Summer League?
You watched that big monster with this team?
Did you watch him in the Summer League? You were there. I was there. Did you watch him there? And were you impressed? I remember this conversation.
I'm kind of astonished at the fact that you're calling me out for unproven information when the Memphis Grizzlies, number one, we don't know who they're going to pick. Same thing with the Celtics, right? So that's even.
That's why I have them at 12 and not 5.
But guess what? You had them at 12 because of the pick. Because there is no comparison when you're comparing Ja and Triple J to Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White. Yes, that 3-man core with a lottery pick is much better for the future than what the Grizzlies got going on. The Grizzlies are much more reliant on a top-level talent.
Luka
if you get the 10th overall
is
pick,
their starting center,
if you get the 10th overall,
no point guard.
I mean, Luka Garza is Zach Edey. Come on, let's be serious.
They have no role players. There's nothing in place. Jason Tatum's coming off an Achilles injury. If we're talking in the next 3 years,
yes,
I don't know that the Celtics are going to be that much better than the Grizzlies. I know
they are.
I know this year the Grizzlies could be better than the Celtics.
This year, if they're healthy, they could have the same record.
Both of these were arguing stuff that has not happened yet. And the difference is you have the Celtics at 5. I have the Grizzlies at 12. I'm not sitting here acting like the Grizzlies are going to be ultimate finals contender over the next 3 years. I have them as an average team, upper echelon average team.
The Celtics can get back to being a finals contender in the next 3 years.
They could.
Yes,
but they have
the Grizzlies, that cannot happen
They have a lot of moves to make, and we have not seen them yet. That's why I just wanted to put them in the middle.
For the Memphis Grizzlies, that cannot happen. Like, there is no reality within the next 3 years they can compete.
How can it not happen?
Because they can't. They don't have the players.
What if they get the number 1 pick this year?
In the next 3 years, because of the number 1 pick, they'll be a finals contender? I don't see it.
That guy in his second or third year in 2028, yes, I could see that.
There's a realistic avenue for the Celtics to be a finals contender.
Yes, there is.
For Grizzlies, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of projecting.
There is a lot of hope, but I have them in the middle. I have both the Grizzlies and the Celtics in the middle because they're both unproven. Like, we're talking about the teens. The teens of this list. You have the Celtics in the top 5, bro.
Because they can be
have them in the top 5 over the Knicks. The Knicks in the next 3 years? That's the conversation I want to have. I don't want to talk about 12 and 15 and all that stuff.
Okay.
I want to talk about the top 5.
Let's have that conversation. Number 1, based on your list, you told me you'd rather be Memphis than Boston. That's number 1. I want to get that straight. Number 2,
I'm in Memphis.
Yes. What is the biggest reason why we think the Knicks can make the finals this year? Why? Because of what? The Celtics are hurt and the Pacers are hurt, right? That's the 2 reasons why. Right?
Yes. But so even when they were healthy, they were going to be up 3-1.
They were. There's no doubt about it.
But so they beat them straight up at their best.
They beat them straight up, and I thought
I would still, if Jason Tatum was healthy, I'd still like the Knicks more than the Celtics. You know why? Because they beat them.
Here's the thing. They beat them, but the first 2 games, they blew 20-point leads. So that is a big reason why I don't know if I can trust that sustainability of winning that way.
In a Mike Brown system, I trust that. With better coaching, I can.
So with the Boston Celtics, the fact that they have Jason Tatum, who's the best player between both teams, I think that's a big, huge swing for them. And we have to see how he comes back from the Achilles, but I think he will come back still a great player and a top 10 player in the league. So, no, the Celtics are number 5. I think number 1, you're fixating on me having them number 5. I think number 15 is ridiculously low. Like, I don't know how the hell you thought of 14 teams to have a better future than the Celtics in the next 3 years.
We're in the certain time frame of the NBA where it doesn't matter about your big three or big two. It matters with the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth player on the roster.
Yeah, if
When
you
I look at the
have a
Knicks,
star.
they have an advantage at the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth player on the Celtics roster right now. And the fact that you have the Celtics above the Knicks is utterly ridiculous to me.
That's for 1 year. Mikal Bridges, if he signs an extension this offseason, he's going to get $40 million or more. Once he signs that contract, we are over the tax, and we cannot have that good of a bench anymore.
This is a team who got Jalen Brunson to take considerably less in the last two contracts that he's
Mikal not taking
with
less.
With
Mikal
Bridges, you don't think he's taking less?
No, Mikal is going to get what he got. He's going to get paid. He knows he can get a lot.
Why do you say that? Everybody would have thought Jalen Brunson would have got paid. He just came off a 4-year, $100 million contract. Everybody thought he was going to get paid, and then he just took less.
That is an anomaly.
Like a team guy to me. You should know that.
That is an anomaly. So you're banking on the fact that Mikal Bridges is going to do what one of 1,000 athletes do.
OG Anunoby's still on that roster, bro.
OG got paid market value.
Yeah, 100%. But OG's still there. Like, it's not like Mikal Bridges.
Is he a team guy?
Do you know what you could get if you had to trade Mikal Bridges?
What can we get?
You could get as many first-round picks as you wanted to get. You may not get in 5. I know a team in the city I'm in that would give up 4, and that did give up 4 to Brooklyn for him.
So how the hell does that help the Knicks within the next 3 years?
You flip it for more stuff, bro. It doesn't have to be the final. The Knicks have a 29 and a 30-year-old superstar in Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. You could flip those picks easily.
I think
the Knicks are in a better position than the Boston Celtics, and it's not even close of the next 3 years. It's not
this upcoming season for sure. I don't know about the next 2, 3.
The next 3 years,
the next 2 probably. In that third year, I don't know. That third year, I mean, I think you're sleeping on what the Celtics and Brad Stevens can do.
And it's not even the by far better supporting cast and better position they're in. It's the fact that Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns don't have to come back from an Achilles injury.
Yeah, sure. That's great. But also, it's Karl Anthony Towns' defensive liabilities in the playoffs. I mean, it's the fit of Brunson and Cat that isn't a seamless fit to begin with right now. So there's a lot of things that, when your 2 stars
it's the fact that they beat the Celtics too. That's what nobody wants to act like they beat the Celtics at full strength last year. That happened. Okay. I don't care if it was a 20-point lead. It was with lesser coaching, and it still happened.
So in 2023, when the Miami Heat beat the Celtics in the conference finals, you would have argued they have a better future because they beat them in the playoffs.
No, everybody knew that team was backpacked by Jimmy Butler. This Knicks team had a 10 times better lineup than the Miami Heat. Those Miami Heat players got paid elsewhere, and we have not heard their names since. Any of those Knicks players get paid elsewhere, we would hear Mikal Bridges' name. We would hear OG Anunoby's name. We would hear Mitchell Robinson's name.
So you would have argued last year the Mavericks have a better future than OKC because they beat them in the playoffs if Luka stayed.
Would you have not?
No, the OKC definitely still would have had a better future.
Okay, yeah, it's a younger team. We're talking about a Celtics team that is older than OKC. You're trying to make all these apple-to-apple comparisons, and there is no apple-to-apple comparison.
No, I'm saying the logic.
OKC was at the beginning of their run.
I'm saying the logic of saying just because they beat them in the playoffs, that's why they have the better future, I think is flawed. I think
that's not what I'm saying either. There's coming off an injury. It's a better supporting cast. There's 3 different reasons why I feel this way.
I mean, the better supporting cast to a degree, Jaylen Brown and Cat cancel each other out. Derek White versus OG or Mikal, that's a literal debate. And then Jason Tatum or Brunson maybe now because of the injury, but still you can lean Tatum. I mean, it's not that much crazy of a different supporting cast, especially if the Celtics get a lottery pick. I mean, yeah, we're talking about a supporting cast that is really good for Boston. And are they just not going to get nothing back for Simons if they decide to trade him? Like, I don't know. Like Brad Stevens, he got Porzingis for nothing. He got Derek White for nothing. Like, we also are just glossing over the fact that Brad Stevens is not going to leave this roster the way it is. He's clearly going to make moves.
But, Joel, it was a different position. The Kristaps, nobody knew they wanted to move off Marcus Smart when they did. Everyone in the league knows they want to get rid of Anthony Simons. So what are they going to give up to get him? And by the way, we've already seen the Trailblazers.
What I'm saying, is that the Celtics and Brad Stevens has shown that he can do things before.
That's
So,
fair.
so I'm trusting his expertise and what he can do to build a championship contender roster. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
So from 2025 to 2028, we can both concede that 2025 and 2026, the season belongs to the Knicks. So if you're telling me,
2025, yes, I can say that.
okay,
This year, yes, I can say
if
that.
we're talking about the 2 seasons after that, that would mean the Knicks would only have to be better in one of those 2 seasons. And I could 100% see that happening.
Okay, yes, but that's why I had the Celtics 5 and the Knicks 8. And the teams I had sandwiched were the Cavaliers, the team that just won 60-plus games this past year, and then the Indiana Pacers, who just made the NBA Finals this year.
Where the hell are the Spurs on this list above all of these teams?
Okay, so let's get into the top 4. Number 4 is the San Antonio Spurs because they have Victor Wembanyama. You don't have to explain nothing more, Jack. That's it. That's it. I mean, so you're thinking about De'Aaron Fox. They have Wemby. That's it. That's case closed. Number 3, the Houston Rockets.
And the Bucks just have Giannis. Case closed. The Bucks just have Giannis. It doesn't matter about
roster is trash.
It doesn't matter about any of that. They got Giannis. That's the same argument.
The Bucks roster is so much freaking worse than the Spurs. So much worse. So much worse. They don't have a player as good as De'Aaron Fox.
Okay.
Number 3, the Rockets.
Fox get you, bro, as a second option.
My God. What do you mean? He's been averaging 26 for the last 5 years.
Bro, in 2030, he's making $61 million. That's
not
ridiculous.
3 years from now. That's not 3 years from now.
32% of the cap?
Okay, fine. That's cool.
30%
that's
in
fine.
2028. 30% in 2026.
That's fine. That's fine.
That hinders them, bro. I don't care how
good
Victor Wembanyama is. They're not going to be able to afford to keep Devin Vassell and all these other collection of guys that might get you a play-in or a bottom half playoff team this year.
I don't know if it's a bad thing. Devin Vassell is all right.
The ceiling for this team this year is what would you say, a 5 seed? And they're not going to be able to keep this together.
They can keep this together for a couple years. They have Castle and Dylan Harper on rookie contracts. I mean, I think the Spurs are fine. I think you're looking at that contract a little bit too much. I think they are fine. I think they're fine.
And this contract doesn't even bring in the fact that how the hell is this going to help develop Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle?
He just comes off the bench. Dylan Harper comes off the bench. Mm-hmm. Stephon Castle needs to learn how to shoot anyway.
Yeah, you just learn how to shoot with playoff pressure on you every year.
Yeah, just learn how to shoot. Yes, because if De'Aaron Fox or not, if he doesn't learn how to shoot, he wasn't going to be on his team long term regardless. He has to learn how to shoot. So number 4, I have the Spurs. Number 3, the Rockets. Number 2, Denver. They still have Jokic. Number 1, OKC. That's a valid list.
Luke Cornett at age 32 in 2028 is going to be making $10 million. $10
million is nothing. Did you see what Josh Giddey just got?
Yeah, that's the Bulls. Luke Cornett, are we really believing that's the future guy next to Victor Wembanyama?
Are you really fixating on $10 million?
No, I'm talking about a combination of these decisions. De'Aaron Fox contract was inexplicable, and so is a Luke Cornett thing. If this is the future around Victor Wembanyama, we're going to have a real problem about his future in this dynasty that you're talking about.
I'm baffled. I mean, Wembanyama's going to play a lot of minutes too. So you're over here hyping up Jonas Valanciunas, but you're downplaying Cornett. Cornett's better than him.
The Spurs, the argument you're making over the next 3 years.
No. Tell me
they're going to be better than the New York Knicks.
No, tell me how.
Say that with a straight face. They will be better over the next 3 years than the New York Knicks.
Tell me how Valanciunas. You believe in him, but not Luke Cornett. Give me a real logical argument about that.
Because Valanciunas isn't under contract for the next 3 years.
He's also not good. He's not better than Cornett. If the Nuggets
we're talking about equals. Valanciunas has definitely had a better career than Luke Cornett.
Defensively, Luke Cornett is so much better. You'd rather him. Oh, he's so much better. Valanciunas cannot play defense. I promise you, Valanciunas isn't getting tick in the playoffs. He's not playing.
Peak will not be Jonas Valanciunas' peak.
Who cares about the peak we're talking about right now?
Over the next 3 years, this Spurs team will be better than the New York Knicks. That is the argument we're making. No.
That's not my argument, because what I said, my argument when I made this list was, what team would I rather be? And I'd rather be the team that has fucking Victor Wembanyama. That's it. I don't care. That's it. That is it.
All right. Let me double check my text yesterday. Yo, I hope you were having a great week, bro. Wow, I'm such a great friend. Are we good for tomorrow? We are ranking every NBA team's future from 2025 to 2028, basing it off success in that time frame.
Yeah.
I should have put it in caps. That's on me, honestly. That's on me.
Yes,
honestly.
but I don't think the Spurs cannot be. I think the Spurs are so good with Wemby, they could make the finals in the next 3 years.
So it's not next year, right? You don't believe that, do you?
This upcoming season, no. But can I see it in year 2 and year 3? Yes. I could see Wemby pulling a LeBron. I could see a Wemby pulling a Luka, and I could see him carrying a team to the finals. I'd rather him.
You went on this run about OKC. They're going to be the dynasty of the 2020s.
Yes.
So for them to make a finals over the next 3 years, they would have to go through OKC to get there.
It depends on matchups.
Depends on matchups. You're counting on Denver to knock them out. An argument you were on the other side of earlier this podcast. You're on the other side of this argument. So
based on your logic,
on Denver and Houston to knock them out. So is that what the argument?
Logic, you're not sold on OKC. You think Denver is going to take the crown this year?
Yeah,
that's
what
you said. So who's number one for you?
Denver beats OKC. They're beating San Antonio.
Who's number one for you on your list? Denver?
Over the next 3 years, like who is number one? It is Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay. Although Denver's going to beat them this year.
Bro, you're bringing back the Northwest Division for one single season and trying to compare it over ranking every NBA team's future over the next 3 years.
Yes, because if Denver could beat OKC this year, what's stopping them from beating them the year after or the year after that?
Nikola Jokic, I don't know if he wants to play basketball, bro. Like he could, if they win a title this year, he could just retire.
It's Jokic's motivation. I got it. That's it. That's the only thing that's
no, it's not it. They're set up contractually in a better state than the Denver Nuggets are over the next 3 years. They have all their guys locked up. Nikola Jokic, the whole contract thing this summer was bizarre with the owner and the way he was talking about that. The Nuggets constantly cheap out, but this year they made competent moves. And this year, coming off a season where they took OKC to a 7-game series, I believe this year they knock off OKC. So doesn't mean it's going to happen the next season or the next season after that.
Based on your own logic, over the next 3 years, the Memphis Grizzlies will be more successful than the Boston Celtics.
You going after this. Bro, they're both in the middle of the list.
No, you have them 3 spots higher.
One's at 12, one's at 15. It's because I don't know with the Boston Celtics. I know this year the Grizzlies will probably be better than the Boston Celtics. And the 2 years after that, if Boston goes out and has an amazing summer of 2026, the Celtics are going to be better than the Grizzlies. We just have not seen it yet on either side. These are both unproven rules, which is why I threw them in the middle, and I don't have them at 5 above the New York Knicks.
What teams did you have?
You having the Celtics at 5 is insane.
Yes. What teams did you have above the Celtics? Let me hear them again.
These are the teams I'm sure of. They will have a good future over the next 3 years. The Detroit Pistons. It was your San Antonio Spurs. It's the Dallas Mavericks. It's the Lakers.
Okay.
It's the Timberwolves.
So the Spurs, you will have more success than the Celtics over the next 3 years.
I just think they're a safer bet. I don't know what the Celtics are doing next summer because free agency has been dead. And if they're putting all their eggs in that basket to save the Tatum and Brown prime, I don't think that's the way to go about it.
The Grizzlies are a safer bet than the Boston Celtics. The Pistons are a safer bet than the Boston Celtics. That's what you're telling me. The Celtics.
The Pistons 100% because of their youth, and Cade Cunningham's not coming off an Achilles injury, and they already have a team that is built on playoff success. I don't know who the starting center is for Boston. Luka Garza is starting for them. Anthony Simons right now is starting for them.
This is an obvious rebuild year, though. This is an obvious rebuild year. We know that. We know that.
Yeah, what we don't know is who's going to be on this roster in 2 seasons. I don't know that, so I just put them at 15.
What we do know is they have Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Derek White.
I came on here not expecting to talk about the Celtics at all. I came on here not expecting to talk about them because I literally have no idea what they're going to be. This is a team that I would like the LA Clippers. I would want them out of this list because I don't know.
Is Tatum, Brown, and Derek White a championship core?
Yeah, not with Luka, Garza, and Anthony Simons.
Okay, but can those three surrounding them around players that a championship core?
Surrounding them around who?
Surrounding them around good players that a championship core.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, but Luka, Garza, Georges Niang, and Anthony Simons ain't that core, bro.
Yeah, but they're not surrounding them around him this year because Tatum is not playing.
Okay. And that's one of these 3 years in these rankings.
Do the Grizzlies have a championship core?
If the Grizzlies went out and had a number 1 overall pick,
okay,
somehow got Mikal Bridges.
So why can you use uncertainty to propel your Grizzlies argument, but you can't? But you're knocking the Celtics for uncertainty.
We're talking about 12 and 15. I haven't even got to my top 10 yet. Can I please talk about my top 10?
Get to your top 10.
Can I please talk about the teams I actually believe in?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 10, I have the Dallas Mavericks. At number 9, over the next 3 years, I think the Golden State Warriors are going to have more success than some of these teams that are below them. Now, it's a long stretch, but if they go out and re-sign Kuminga, if they go out and do what they're supposed to do, get Al Horford this season, I could see them having a better record than the Spurs. I could see that. At number 8, LA Lakers, all the reasons you name. It's Luka Doncic. That's enough. You have LeBron James on the roster. You have a ton of flexibility over the next couple years as well. At number 7, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle's now locked in. Naz Reid's now locked in. Rudy Gobert, obviously. They just need to figure out that point guard thing. They're going to have a ton of success over the next 3 years. Number 6, I have the Orlando Magic. Yes, it's expensive, but it's in a down Eastern Conference, a very down Eastern Conference, and everybody's locked in there. I think Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones help the shooting, and Jalen Suggs, he is overpaid. He's making $35 million next season, but Tyus Jones provides a bit of insurance on that from the shooting front. Do you want me to go in the top 5?
Yes. Golden State, next 3 years, they're going to be 40.
I know next year they're going to be better than Dallas Mavericks. They're going to be better than the San Antonio Spurs.
Are they? I don't know.
They're going to be better than probably than the Boston Celtics as well. So at number 5, Cleveland Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, reigning defensive player of the year, all the young cats they have there. Houston Rockets at number 4. Yes, Kevin Durant's not a young guy, but you look at the young core and what they have a chance of doing the next 3 years, they're going to be a top 5 team in the NBA, and it's not even close. Denver Nuggets at number 3, and the New York Knicks are at number 2. This is simple. The New York Knicks are favored to win the Eastern Conference this year. And the team that is so scary and is coming back apparently with a fully loaded roster in 2027 is the Boston Celtics, a team they have already beaten. And I would argue that it would be impossible in this current NBA climate to build a Celtic team as good as last year's through free agency. I don't envision that happening. I envision the Knicks winning the East and being favored to win the East at least 2 of the next 3 years, if not all 3 years. And that's why I have them at number 2, and Oklahoma City's a clear number 1.
Why is New York over Denver?
Conference.
You just picked the Nuggets to beat the OKC Thunder. In the
That's
West.
1 year. That's not.
Okay.
It's not 3 years.
So, and you said your words. You said that you're not worried about anybody in the East for OKC for challenging them. So. Yeah, essentially, your winner for the finals is the Denver Nuggets. That's your championship pick?
I'm not ready to make it's September, bro. We're not doing finals pick yet.
So, but you said OKC will beat anybody in the East. So if Denver beats OKC, they can also beat anybody in the East.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't know that. It'll be a matchup thing.
So if the Knicks play Denver in the finals, you're picking the Knicks?
I don't know if I would.
Okay. So you would have the Nuggets winning the NBA championship, but the Knicks are above them in this.
I have not made an NBA Finals pick. I don't know if they'd be able to beat the Knicks. All I know is over the next 3 years, I think the Knicks, because of the way they spend, because of the way they build their team, are in a better position than the Denver Nuggets over the next 3 years. I think the Denver Nuggets have an incredible roster this season. I don't know what's going to happen next year. They're going to cheap out again. Are they going to have a ton of success and then give up on KCP?
Is Jokic going to retire?
Yeah, it's another question.
Okay, yeah, you don't know that, so okay. All right, let's see. All right, you're gonna.
I don't know why you're mad at me for being high on your team.
No,
because this is why
I'm mad at your logic.
I think I'm starting to question our friendship. I think it's a little bit lopsided because I'm the one always gassing up the Knicks. I'm the one always wanting your success and wanting you to succeed. But when it comes to the Grizzlies, no.
No,
they're
I'm
always
mad
at the bottom every list. And when it comes to John Morant, no, always at the bottom of every list. So you and I may need to cut the cameras here and have a real conversation about our friendship and where we are in this.
I'm mad at the logic. I'm not mad that you're high on the Knicks. I'm high on the Knicks too. But you have the Knicks over the Denver Nuggets.
8, bro. That is not high on the Knicks. The 8th best team over the next 3 years. Are you kidding me?
Yes, that is high on them.
I can get down with 5 or 4 or 3, but 8?
Yes, 8 is fine. It's perfectly fine. Denver, by all accounts, is your darling this year, and you have the Knicks over them. Yet you think Denver's going to win the NBA championship. So
I literally, those words
all right.
never came out of my mouth.
So
ever.
So you're not ready to make your NBA championship pick.
No, I'm not there.
But you do know that Denver's going to beat OKC.
I don't know that. I said if I had to pick right now, I think I'm picking Denver.
Okay.
We're not even to media day yet. We're not even to training camp yet. Can I at least wait till then to make my finals prediction?
I will. I'll give you that grace. But based on all the context clues, it feels like either you're leading Denver because you already picked them to beat OKC, or you're leaning the Knicks to win the NBA championship.
Yeah, it's one of those two. I'm leaning either. Yeah, that's where I'm leaning. But you just
told me the Nuggets would probably beat the Knicks. So based on the context clues, you're leaning towards Denver winning the championship. And they're number 3 and not number 2.
Leaning's a strong verb. I don't know if I'm all the way there. I think this is, if the Nuggets are ever going to beat the Thunder, it is this year, coming off a 7-game series where they now have a better roster. I think this is the year that the Nuggets could beat the Thunder. And I would be leaning to pick them, but not leaning to win an NBA championship. I don't know. I haven't thought that far. My brain has been on, oh my God, the Knicks are at 8 for Joel. That is what my brain's been on.
My brain has been on the Celtics are at 15 for you.
Okay, fair. I guess our brains aren't moving. But what's your top 5?
Boston, the Spurs, the Rockets, the Nuggets, the Thunder.
Spurs, Rockets. Slow down.
Number 1 through 5, OKC, Denver, Houston, San Antonio, Boston.
San Antonio above Boston.
Yes. Because of Wemby. That's
Lord
it.
Have mercy, dude.
That's it. Wemby.
Then why are the Bucks last? If we're talking about one player, Giannis, where you could just be like, if that's your logic, the Bucks should be 15-20.
Can you name me the 4 starters for the Bucks outside of Giannis?
Cole Anthony.
Wow.
Torian Prince.
Oh my goodness.
Miles Turner.
No, that's solid.
Kyle Kuzma. Oh my God. De'Aaron Fox. He's made it to the first round before. Holy shit. Did you see what he averaged in that first round loss?
De'Aaron Fox is better than all of those players combined.
Okay.
They're scrubs. Wemby doesn't have scrubs.
Holy shit. He's our big man of the future next to Victor Wembanyama.
Why are you forgetting Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan?
Because
these players?
Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox can all not contribute at the same time on this roster.
Why not?
It's not ready to win yet.
Wait, why not? They can't go. I saw OKC go 3-guard lineups in 2019 with Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, and Shea.
How far did they make it?
They made it to the playoffs when they were projected not to make it.
Okay, that's fair. We're talking about the playoffs. You're talking a top 5 team in the league over the next 3 years. We're talking about championship contenders. We're not talking about the Chris Paul-led Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'm not talking about that.
Crazy pool.
I'm talking about, you said that the 3-guard lineup can't work, and I'm asking why not? Why can't it?
I have to see that.
That's a good thing to have. 3 players that can all attack the basket and
we're not going to sit here and act like
a good thing.
No, we're not going to sit here and act like it's a good thing to have. It would be better
if
they had De'Aaron Fox and maybe a Trey Murphy like you talked about, or maybe Mikal Bridges like you talked about.
No, but that's not the option. The option, would it be better if they didn't have De'Aaron Fox at all?
It would be better if they had De'Aaron Fox on a logical contract, that and a tradable contract. It doesn't have to be a full-blown max. How many teams would have given De'Aaron Fox that contract?
Doesn't matter.
The Sacramento Kings,
it makes them much better,
are handing out money to Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. Who cares? They didn't even give De'Aaron Fox that contract. It does matter who would give it to him, because my point is Fox didn't have any leverage. So if Fox doesn't have any leverage, you don't have to sign him to that. You're seeing that the Hawks do this right now. They want to sit back and wait and say, Trae Young, we're going to see how this season goes, because if you can't lead this team to success, why are we committing all these assets to you when we can move on to Jalen Johnson, when we can move on to Zachary Richer? That is what the Hawks and their strategy has been. So why can't they do it with a much lesser player in De'Aaron Fox? When you already have your franchise guy.
Why is a conversation with you and Fox always about his contract and not about how good he is?
Because it's about roster construction. The reason that the Thunder are so good and in such a good position, they draft very, very well. And yes, because they capitalized while their books were low and they didn't have to pay all of these guys, they were able to be very, very good and win a championship early. If the Spurs want to win a championship early, they don't need to have those monstrous contracts on the books. That is why OKC won a title this year.
The Spurs are so good. I mean, the OKC is so good because they have Shea and two All-Stars with him. J-Dub more so All-Star than Chet.
They all fit
The
too.
Spurs,
They all fit.
Fox fits with Wemby.
Okay, Fox doesn't fit with their other two guards that they have drafted.
The Spurs are better with Fox. No, they're better with Fox.
Yes, right now they're better with Fox.
Why are you thinking 5 years down the line with nobody outside of Fox is proven on this team yet? They're better with Fox.
I'm thinking 5 years down the line because 32% of the cap in 2030 will hinder this. We will be talking about this contract in 2030.
3 years. No, this is a 3-year conversation.
Okay, let's talk about 2028. 31% of the cap in 2028.
Okay, how many players for the Spurs 3 years from now are on their books on their payroll?
Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Carter Bryant.
Okay, so all their rookie deals are still on, so that means they don't have to pay them while the De'Aaron Fox contract is still ongoing.
You know who they will be paying is Victor Wembanyama.
Okay, that's fine if you pay him. He's generational talent.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. But if you have a combination of Fox and Wembanyama taking up 70% of your cap, what else is going to be around them? It's not going to be Devin Vassell.
Well, who cares? The biggest assets that they have right now are Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, and Carter Bryant. Those are the three guys for the future.
I think you and I both agree.
You're losing sleep over Devin Vassell not being on this team.
No, I'm not. What I'm losing, you and I agree that De'Aaron Fox, there is no better options out there, and they should have paid him. What we disagree on is the price. This price is so steep and so high, it will hinder them over the next 5 years.
For me,
that is why it is a problem. It's not that they should not have paid him. It's that they should not have given him that contract when literally they had all the leverage.
For me, it's not about that. For me, it's more so about the Spurs needing an all-star next to Wemby. You just saw all of their good assets for the future are under contract in the duration of Fox's contract to where it's not going to be a conflict. It's not a big deal. If they had a roster that was in jeopardy of going above the second apron, then I would agree with you. But they don't. And they don't have to make paying Keldon Johnson or Devin Vassell a priority. And this is the team with the second most draft capital this decade. So they're going to be just fine. They have picks. They have a lot of picks. They're going to be just fine. This contract doesn't hinder them. It makes them better.
This is going to be a fun season.
Yeah, it really is. I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah, and some point throughout this season, I would love to see the Knicks in person. Every time they're in town, I watch them. You know why? It's because I support you.
Really?
How many Grizzlies games have you been to? How many lists have you had the Grizzlies in the top half of? That's the question I'm asking.
I've been to one.
Okay.
Against the Nets, James Harden, KD, Kyrie, big three playing. I went to the Grizzlies game. The Grizzlies won that game.
We need to up that number this year. We're
still relevant, which is
we need to bring you to this side. Because I'm already standing on the Knicks side with you. It's just you're on every other Western Conference team side over there.
Hey, listen, Memphis is fine. I had them 15. That is a great spot to be in.
Okay.
You're arguing with me. Boston is fine at 15. I mean, Memphis is fine at 15.
Okay. That's why we're in the podcast, Joel. Appreciate you being flexible again. Looking forward to next week. Really enjoy this as always, bro.
Thank you for having me on.